Hey guys, it's Benjamin and welcome to another lesson here at the Guide Plus. And today I want to talk about a dribbling concept that I use quite frequently, and in fact it is key for my build-up and also for creating chances. So last week I had a lesson about creating passing angles and options and how this is an essential part of creating an attack in FC24, and part of this lesson was also left stick dribbling and how we can use it to create those passing angles. This lesson right here is somewhat of a follow-up to the lesson of last week, because here we will also talk about left stick dribbling, but we're going to push it to the next level because I will explain how we can use left stick dribbling to bait out the opponent and thus open up space for us to then proceed with the attack. So I'm going to start this lesson with a motivation. I want to show and underline what we get out of this and why we are doing this. So here I'm just going to show you this situation once without pausing, and then I'm going to explain why are we doing this? What is the difference and what did we accomplish by this bait dribbling basically? This is how I call it. So if you look at this situation right here, you have this opponent and he is closing us down quite heavily. And I'm able to save the ball with a ball roll. But this player right here, if you look at this situation, he is the limiting factor for our attack. If this player would not be here, I would have plenty of options to just proceed here on the wing, for example. But this player is the player who's limiting our options of going forward. So if we would be able to get rid of this player, this would help us a lot, because then we could move more freely, we could distribute the ball easier, we could choose our passes that we want to play. So obviously there are also safe options how we can move on here, which are a little bit safe and more boring. We could play back to the center back, we could switch to the other side, something like this. This could work as well. But here in that moment I noticed that the opponent is defending us really actively, and if that is the case, we can bait him out a little bit, or her out a little bit, that they overcommit, and then if they do, we open up new options and a new dynamic in our attack. So if you look at this situation here right now, he's controlling us, but with a slight movement, and I'm going to talk about it later on, we make the opponent overcommit. And now if you look at this situation compared to the one before, it looks much better, because now we have freedom. We don't have any immediate pressure, and from this position we can do plenty of things. We could easily switch to the other side, like with a long ball, with a driven pass, something like this. But depending on how the opponent is moving here, we could also see, because now you can see the opponent has some pressure, right? Like he is moving out like this, but this also opens up the space right here if we're able to play such a pass, for example, making this player move a little bit like this, player lock or whatever. If this player is moving good, then we would have a really dangerous option here on the wing to proceed, because the opponent is opening up new space. And the reason is that this player here is not part of the defense anymore. And how did we do this? If you go back here, it was just a little bit wiggling with the left stick, giving the indication. And now I'm already going to explain how I did it here and why. I think it's a good example. With my left stick dribbling, by turning like this, I give the opponent the impression I want to continue with a pass like this. So what the opponent is now doing, he is going to overcommit, thinking I'm going to do like this. So I'm baiting out a defensive action, and it only works if the opponent is controlling this player, which is close by. If he's not doing that, it's not going to work. But if that is the case, then it's always a possibility or an opportunity for us to bait out a defender, get him out of position, and then proceed like with a better or stronger position in our attack. So that's why I'm using this, and that's why I'm doing this. If that would not be the case, I would play back to the center back and switch side, because I cannot really gain anything out of this situation. But because the opponent is as aggressive with his defending, now you can see like bang, he's overcommitted or she overcommitted, and now we have this strong position. In that case, I decided, like if you look at this, it's like sometimes really ironic how AI teammates move. She's like, this player is totally open, I want to play to her, a driven pass, and now, oh, she wants to hide behind the player. Like sometimes it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I was able to still play the pass and play out this attack, but it started with the movement on the wing. And now I want to talk a little bit more in detail about what I'm doing here. And this is a very extreme case, I have to say. I'm going to show it also one time to you without pausing, but this is a really extreme case how I baited out the opponent and open up space, as you can see. So super interesting. And now let's go into detail how I did it here. So I get the ball to my fullback, I'm able to control it. It was a little bit of a hustle, I have to admit. But if you look at this position once again, like from here, we cannot create anything, right? Like the only option that we have as of now is potentially play to my CM here in the center. He is a little bit open. But every other player, besides maybe this center back as well, is not really available. So this situation right now is not looking as good. So also part of the explanation why I'm doing it. So now what you can see is, and here in that case, we have a faced up position, and I will go back a little bit to maybe get a better frame for it. So here we have a faced up position. Faced up, I mean, in contrast to the situation before, when I was facing away from the opponent's pressure like this, like my body position was facing away from him. Here, in that case, I'm facing towards the opponent and towards the pressure. Okay, so like this is the situation right here. And now what I'm doing is just using left stick dribbling, as you can see here. For all the instances that you see here, it's always only left stick dribbling, nothing else. I'm moving like this. And I'm doing this like I'm going left, right, left, right, left, right for several times. Why? I want to give the opponent the impression that I am committing to one of those sides. Like I want to mind game it a little bit, that the opponent thinks, oh, now he's committed to going in that direction. Now I can make a defensive read. Now I can commit like this or like this. And I'm doing it quite extreme here because the opponent first, he's not really falling for it because he switched to his fullback as well, like switched away. So he's not really committing in the moment. So now I did it another time. As you can see, he switched, like the opponent switched back to this. I'm going to the right and then bang, another time to the other side. Now, if you look at this position, look at this, the opponent is behind us. We have so much space in front of us. Now we have passing opportunities which were not there before. And it's because the opponent now is behind us and we opened up the space in front of us. Now we have those two passing options. I could play a pass like this. Depending on how the opponent is moving, I could also try to play a pass like this. Now we have options. Like this is also part of why we are doing this. And then yeah, like going back to this, like as I said, like it's a very extreme case. We control the ball and then left, and then right. And then now I felt like, okay, now the opponent baited, I baited him into committing into this side. So now at the end, I'm just going to use left stick dribbling to turn around like this and open myself up to the open space. So bang, just turning away. And we also have a lesson about how you can train stuff like this with left stick dribbling. So I'm going to link it in this lesson as well, so you can get a better understanding how to do it. It's a very expert technique, I have to say, because there is some risk involved. I will also have an example how it failed. But here you can see, based out of this space that I just created, and I highly hope that you understand the difference that I was able to make just with this dribbling, because then I was able to really continue on this side. And from here, I'm not able to create anything, but I think it underlines still how I was able to play it out. And this is an example that I already showed, and I also want to show to you because here, once again, like in contrast to a situation that I'm going to show later on, the opponent is not having any contact to us. And here, it's very similar. We want to give the impression to the opponent, well, we're going to do like this. That's why we want to play a pass like this. So the opponent is going to commit with this player in that direction just to intercept, and then we're just going to turn the other side around. And then we have another way how we can move forward by dribbling or playing this pass, which is also an option. So it's baiting out an opponent's direction or reaction. Here it's more the case that the opponent is more committing to intercepting instead of really pushing to us, or like committing with a tackle towards us, which you have seen also in the other examples. So like there are two different ways how you can bait out a defensive reaction. I would always prefer the option that the opponent is committing to a tackle, because then he's really out of position, because here you can see with this movement, he's out of position, but he's still in play. Like, he still can interfere a little bit, and that makes some sort of a difference. But I just wanted to show you like this situation at which the opponent doesn't have contact to us, because this makes a little bit of a difference how we can move on with the dribbling. But then now here we have another example at which the opponent is a little bit closer behind us, but then is also close to making contact. And here we have also a rather extreme case, and all I'm doing here is I control the ball, and then you can see, like, look at my left stick movement. It's always just going left, right, like going to different sides. And if you look at the way how Harry Kane is controlling the ball, like left, right. And then here I just did it like it's about mind games. It's about mind games. Here now I want to give you the impression, oh, I'm going to go down the bylane here. Like, I'm going to go in that direction. So the opponent has to react like this. He has to close this down. He has to respect that I can just move there and open up some space for me. So then I go to the other side, and now you want to get into the head of the opponent. Now he should, or they should think that I'm committing in this direction. So now after I basically fake that I go down to the goal line, now the opponent thinks, okay, he fooled me once, now he's going to commit here for the tackle. But instead, I just did it another time, just turned to the other side very drastically away from the opponent's pressure, and now he overcommits with a tackle and I get the penalty. So really, with the short movement on the spot in that case, I was able, once again, to bait out the defensive reaction of the opponent, overcommitting, make him overcommit like this, and then conceding a penalty because of this. And let's see what kind of an example I have for the next one. Here it's part more or less like, okay, first, like there were some examples at which the opponent was in our back. Here is more to our side. And this is also a very good way of absorbing the pressure. Like, here we don't overcommit, like that the opponent, you always have to think about how will the opponent try to get to the ball. So here the opponent sees that the ball is open like this, and he will try to get here into, for example, in potential passes up forward like this, or like, this pass is not really possible right now. So make the opponent overcommit. So here he tries to get to the ball. So now we have the passing option, which I just tried to show, stuff like this. So now the opponent will think, okay, he just turned away. Now I want to play a pass like this, so I commit like this. But it's always from the side, and we always have this exit option of just turning the other side or the other way around. And then if the opponent overcommits like this, here, bang, now we open up some space and can play forward. So like, it's not always just, I want to underline that you have the way of doing it faced up, as I did with Davies in this one example, but also another way is doing it with like just going side movement, basically when the opponent's pressure is coming from the side. You can move away, and here the opponent's pressure is coming from the side, you can move away. And this can also be enough already to open up now the passing options. In that case, I was playing to play forward, and now I'm in a strong position as well to create something. And this is the difference, like this is the difference that this makes in my attacks. Here in those moments, I have not really much to create something out of, but with these two side movements, all of a sudden I open up my possibility to play to two strikers who are in good positions. So this is why I'm doing this. Here in that case, it's a little bit unlucky that the pass is not registered. So yeah, I'm doing something else, lose the ball. But I think I got myself into a really good position by using this technique. This is the last example that I want to show. Here, for example, quite interesting, I talked about it. It doesn't work if the opponent is not directly at you. For example, here, now if the opponent is controlling this left back, like I could go left, right, it doesn't matter because the AI defenders won't commit as heavily. So here I'm not going to really stay long in this situation. Now I move the ball, and here we have this typical situation once again. In that case, it's always also like just reasoning, like give you more reasoning for my actions. Here I control the ball, and now if you look at this position right here, you think, or like what the opponent is most likely going to think, I will try to play a pass to this striker. So the opponent's reaction that I would expect is to commit more heavily in this direction. So this does give us the option to turn the other side around and create something. This would be, by the way, opening up quite a lot of space. As you will see, the opponent gets a little bit lucky from my perspective, but because for whatever reason this player here is going to just move in the best position like this and just going to fill the gap automatically. Like here, all of a sudden, now he's in a good position. But the movement, like if you just focus on the movement here, we make the opponent overcommit with a center back, bang. And now we open up space, and now it's just a simple pass to the other striker, and now we're in a good position, and we also score the goal. And it all started with creating this overcommitment, just getting in the head of the opponent, like how we control the ball, and that now we think, oh, there is the moment when the opponent thinks I can get to the ball. This is the moment when you want to get the ball away from them and then proceed with the open up space. And here, then, as I said, like I was able to create this shooting spot inside the box. And now we come to the last example, because obviously there's a grain of salt in it. Because you can look, it can look amazing, you can look super smart, you can look like that you outsmart your opponent easily all the time. But this is also not the case. This is a dribbling technique or concept which is quite dangerous because you're playing with fire. It's always the threat that the opponent reads you very well, or that you outsmart yourself, and then you're going to lose the ball quite easily. So it takes some expertise and experience to make use of it in the right spots. And I fail here in this example. It's really close. I'm only leading with one goal. It's toward the end of the game. So now here I try, like obviously in such situations the pressure is really high. Like every player is of the opponent is really close to, like I don't have really any passing options. I have to find a solution here with my player in the dribbling. So here I decided, I control the ball like this, and I felt like from here it's super obvious that the opponent can win the ball like when he commits to a tackle like this. So I wanted to be really smart, just fake it and then turn the other way around. Unfortunately, the opponent decided to go to the other side. So here I'm just giving it basically to the opponent. And that's an example for failed bait dribbling. Here, like baiting out the reaction, I try to get him, but like he moves to the other side as well. So I'm outsmarting myself easily and then I lose the ball. So I wanted to show you this example because it underlines how close you always will be if you look at all those examples that I showed you. If you make the wrong decision, the wrong read, how the opponent is going to behave, you will lose the ball potentially. So that's a threat, and that's why you have to make your experience and you have to develop a feeling on when and how you can make the opponent commit to a tackle and make a good assessment to which direction he's doing it, so then you can make sure to move to the other side around. Alright, this is it for this lesson. A really fun technique, I would say expert level, because it is as situational. You need some pressure for the opponent, but then also harder to execute. You really have to have some experience on how to get out of those situations safely without losing the ball. But if you're able to do that, it's a really very helpful tool for your build-up, for creating chances, as you could have seen from those examples. So this is it from my side. I hope this was helpful. Leave me some feedback in the comments or on the Discord server what you think about it. Thanks for your attention. Keep a clean sheet. I'm out.